Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Circuit Stream event. Today, we are going to be doing an intro to AR with Snapchat, and I will be inviting some of our guest speakers up on stage in not too long. Before we get going, I just like to always do a little bit of housekeeping notes, make sure that everybody can see me okay, everybody can hear me okay. Feel free to use the chat log off to the right, or you can use the emojis. I see a bunch of thumbs up coming through, so that's a good sign. I think everybody can see me and hear me. I also like to familiarize everybody with the options in the bottom right corner. So you'll be able to see the polls tab, the questions tab, and the chat tab. Feel free to interact with all of those during the presentation. There aren't any polls posted quite yet, but during the Snap presentation, I'm going to post some polls so that people can interact with those. And then at the very end, we are going to do a little bit of Q&A. So we would be able to go over some questions. Everyone in the chat is welcome to provide questions either through the questions tab or directly through the chat tab, and we'll do our best to mitigate both of those. I was just going to invite people to share where they are joining us from, and I can already see some people have beat me to it. I see Burbank, California, Buenos Aires, Argentina. I am personally from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Oh, perfect. I can see San Francisco, Virginia, Missouri, Scotland, awesome, Seattle, people from all over. So welcome, everyone. I'll also mention here, too, that the presentation will be recorded today. It is recording right now. So once everything is completed today, all of the registration attendees will receive emails with the confirmation that you attended. You'll get a recording of the session, and you'll be able to access that afterwards. So without further ado, I am going to begin by sharing the presentation here. Just bear with me for a quick second. There we go. Perfect. So as I mentioned, today's presentation is Intro to AR with Snapchat. I can start here by sharing a little bit of information about myself, if my computer cooperates. There we go. So my name is Tyler Trapp. I'm the marketing events manager at CircuitStream. I've worked in travel and tourism for about 10 plus years before I started in this industry. And I am I always say a senior, but a video game enthusiast myself. We will be joined by Stacy shortly. Stacy is the global head of training and education, learning, and training at Snap Incorporated. Stacy's also equestrian trainer, though out of practice, she says, and she likes to refer to herself as a recovered academic. So I'll let her share a little bit of information about that once she's up on stage in a little bit here. And then Stephen will also be joining us today. Stephen is the developer relations manager at Snap Incorporated. Stephen has a viral 5 million plus video on YouTube. I'm very curious to hear what that entails. And then he once turned down David Hasselhoff at a restaurant. All these points for both of the speakers, I'm quite curious to hear and learn more. So we'll have to hear from them once they come up on stage. Before I invite Stacy up, I'm just going to quickly go through this one slide with everyone and just share a little bit about us at CircuitStream and kind of where we came from. We began in 2015 through a network of developers, designers, and creators who were pioneering the virtual and augmented reality ecosystem. CircuitStream saw a need for education and training that would empower people to build Unity and XR applications and advance the industry's frontiers. We now partner with industry-leading companies and leading educational institutions to offer courses and training to those looking to learn more about emerging technologies such as XR and game development. So that's just a little bit of history about us at CircuitStream. Without further ado, I am going to go ahead and invite Stacy to join us up on stage, share a little bit of information about her fun facts there, and then jump into the presentation. I should mention Stacy will be sharing information on Snap AR and on Lens Studio today. So welcome, Stacy.
Thank you. You can hear me okay?
We can.
Thumbs up, everyone. Excellent. Hi, I'm joining you from Seattle. I travel around the world. Hola, bienvenidos to all the folks that speak Spanish. Those are the only two languages I have in my pocket. But I'm excited to talk with you. Oh, hey, Maxine. It's good to see you. I'm really excited to present to you about a little bit about Snap AR and a little bit about Lens Studio. As he mentioned, I'm the head of education for learning and training for Snap AR. So we build the tutorials, we do the live streams, we build the online learning. In fact, I will type into the chat a little bit later here so you can visit our new learning hub. I won't send you now because it'll distract you and you won't watch my presentation, but I'm excited to share that. I am, in fact, equestrian. I began competing professionally when I was 9. And I'm pretty convinced it was because my parents wanted me to stay out of trouble. And if I had to wake up and go to the barn early in the morning before school, there was no way I could be out late at night. It worked. I stayed out of trouble. And I haven't been able to do as much lately since having my kids, but I'm slowly getting back into it. And the note for me is just, if there's something you're passionate about that you love doing, even if you take a break for, in my case, 15 years, you can always go back, do it. Like, go back to the thing that you love and that you're good at. And yes, I was awkward and weird at it, but it connects so quickly, I think, when you do something that you love. And I'm a recovered academic. So I worked in academia, that's higher education and universities, for a good 20 years, building workforce development programs in schools of medicine and engineering all over the country, until I settled in tech about 5 years ago. Absolutely love it. If anyone else is out there and has graduate degrees and isn't sure if they want to get into tech, I'm happy to help guide you in that process. All right, I will now start my presentation and share my screen. I have some great, obviously, Rebels Unite. Okay, sorry, I was commenting to David in the group there. This is a new tattoo. I just got it in London a couple weeks ago. I'm going to fill it in. Next time you see me, it'll have design and art in there. So I will share my presentation now. We've got video and audio in there. So if you can't hear someone, please let me know so I can make sure the audio is intact. I may not be able to see the chat. Depends on my capability to multitask. But if I can't, hopefully someone else can just ping me. So I'm going to share my screen now. And here we go. It looks like I can see it. This is good stuff. All right, so that's me. Augmented reality is what I do. I am here to support that on all levels. In fact, I mentioned before, my team helps develop learning materials for Lens Studio, Camera Kit, which you'll hear both about today. But in addition to that, spectacles, as well as working with university programs to try and get degree programs around AR and XR. And I'm working with multiple disciplines to see how we can develop more use cases for augmented reality as well. All right. Our motto here is dream it, build it. We are working with some of the world's best augmented reality developers to create augmented reality experiences that you can only imagine. Snap is a technology company. We believe the camera represents the greatest opportunity to improve the way people live and communicate. And we contribute to human progress by empowering people to express themselves, live in the moment, and learn about the world and have fun together. Hopefully you all are on Snap. If not yet, you will be after this presentation. It's not just for kids. It's a very fun, interactive app. And the more that you learn about today, building augmented reality experiences on Snapchat is really unique. The technical capabilities are just out of this world. I'm going to share a few words from our leaders here and more about our mission so we can kind of orient the talk.
Do I just put this in?
Yeah.
We really had this orientation as a company around this kind of central idea of the camera being the foundation for this next phase of human interaction with technology. And it started with the idea of, camera in service of visual communication, and it's continued into creative tools, captions overlaid directly onto images, and now has opened up this whole world with augmented reality and this kind of broader notion of compute overlaid onto the world. That's really where our kind of concrete vision of where we think we'll be in a 10, 20-year time horizon comes from. We have this mission, which is, in my view, intentionally broad and covers a lot of space, and I think gives us the flexibility to really just take our values, our sensitivity around privacy and empathy around our community, and I think gives us permission as a company to just innovate in a broad range of areas. So we definitely have a perspective on where we think the company's going to be in 10 to 20 years. We're very excited about kind of investing in that future, from hardware to software and the new products we're building. We are just beginning this expansion from Snap as a product company to Snap as a real platform, where it is less about us directly serving the needs of our community and more empowering our community themselves to create products and serve their own customers through Snap services. And so I think over the next 5-10 years to see that develop is going to be super, super fun.
One of the things that we're really excited about is just the way, as you mentioned, that the camera has just evolved tremendously in the role it plays in people's lives. I mean, to think 5 billion snaps are created every day from people who are expressing themselves, talking with their friends, but then to think about the fact that we've evolved so rapidly to visual computing, where people are interacting with computing directly overlaid on the world and doing so, not through text commands and things like that, but really through gestures or their gaze or their voice, for example, as a whole. So I think being able to use this momentum we've built in transforming the camera from something that just records memories to something that's used for expression and now used to learn about the world and experience the world in new ways through augmented reality, to think about that expanding beyond the limitations of the phone screen with wearable technology and really overlaying computing on the world is just so exciting. The most important thing is probably just a massive thank you to our extraordinary team and our community. I mean, it's just been the joy of a lifetime to work together and to be able to serve this amazing team.
So what's that look like overall? The platform has a ton of reach. So what we're seeing at this point now is around 250 million Snapchatters daily engage with AR. That equals about, hear it with a B, 6 billion is the number of times Snapchatters engage with lenses. What I love about this is that it's not just that someone's looking at a video and then they're done. Not that someone is just seeing an image and then maybe forwarding it to a friend and they're done. They're going back to these experiences over and over again because they're engaging, because they're interesting, because they give something to you that's different than anything else. So we're hoping that you all want to help join this community too. It also means about 2.5 million lenses have been built by creators in every country across the world. I love seeing the growth in all of these other cultures because what's represented in an immersive experience looks different in each location. And as we localize language and localize experiences, it's incredible to see how much people can bond and have fun in each of their local regions. And overall, what we're looking at is about 5 trillion total lens views from creators around the world. That's just monumental, right? It's enormous to know that your work can reach that large of a group and that large of a platform. Incredible. So how do we do this? Lens Studio. Lens Studio is the name of our free software that you can use to download to your desktop and build these AR experiences. If you have any experience in computer software, any experience in computer science, any experience in graphic design, it's pretty easy to pick up from there. My team has created some new onboarding experiences that help ease that journey. If it feels a little bit intimidating, don't stop. Keep being curious, keep diving in. I'll talk more in a second about what features Lens Studio has, but it really is a powerful tool to build augmented reality experiences. So some interesting points about Lens Studio. It's built by developers for developers. I think that you'll notice that when you get into the software, that it's very developer oriented. We do that on purpose because it's meant to support innovation and pioneering new things. It's easy for beginner and powerful for professionals. I think that's probably the number one thing I hear when I talk to different developers around the world. Everyone's developing on all the platforms, which we love. So keep developing for our competitors. That's just fine with us. But what they do when they think about Lens Studio and Snapchat is they say, but I can build this. I can build things so different and so amazing that are only capable in the technology of Lens Studio right now. And we love that. We love hearing that. And we will keep pushing the boundaries to create effects and immersive experiences that are really pioneering for the industry. You can publish on Snapchat and beyond. All those numbers I gave you were not just reach for on platform in Snapchat, but also what Steven's going to talk to you about today, off platform in any other app. He'll give you more details on how that works. But essentially, it really means that some of our partners, for example, if you're at a really famous theme park, we can call it Disney, and used any of their apps before, that's partnering with our technology. So you're experiencing part of what this platform has to offer in those other apps. And there's a wide range of use cases. Near and dear to my heart is education, but I'll start sharing with you some other use cases that offer just day-to-day active daily utility that's pretty amazing. AR is going to change, I think, the way we interact with the world now. Some more of these real technical capabilities that may be of interest to you include machine learning. You can make your lenses smarter by classifying, detecting, and segmenting objects with SnapML. Visual scripting is another really handy tool and capability that we have. So no need to learn JavaScript. Woohoo! Getting started with scripting is easy with our visual scripting templates, but fear not, we also have the opportunity to help you learn a little bit more about scripting as well. Material and video effects, you can create lens logic like tween behavior or more node-based scripting behaviors. We try and make it a little bit easier by using some of those nodes. Introduced last year was Lens Cloud, and that allows you to create these more dense or heavy experiences that don't have to be on the phone. They can actually be up in the cloud, and that really lets you launch experiences much faster. The physics engine is out of this world. You can use Lens Studio's physics engine to make your lenses more dynamic and more engaging. I'm really amazed to see how that works. You know, that you can have an object in the real world or an object 3D that's in augmented reality and have an object bounce off of it, right? Instead of going right through it as it would in reality. Really incredible stuff. We also have an analytics dashboard. If you're already on Snapchat, you may notice if you've posted anything publicly, you can start to see how many people have seen it and how that works. It's really great when you're using this as a business platform to start to see how much reach you have and share that with your clients as well. The asset library is incredible. We have lots of opportunities in there. And then small shout out, we're currently having an asset hackathon. You can come to our website to learn a little bit more, or I'm happy to share links with you later about joining it. We had a live stream yesterday, but we'll have another one next week on how to submit assets in the library and how to help contribute to what that library can be. And then some of the shopping features. I'm going to guess that a lot of you have already tried on some Nikes or maybe some of shoes or accessories, hats, that sort of thing through our shopping suite. Really is going to change the face of how we shop. I can't tell you how excited I am to not have to go to a mall anymore. Just try everything on in your own home. Here I'm going to share with you a much cooler, fancier way to see some of these capabilities visually in a video.
With Snap AR, if you can dream it, you can build it. Now with Lens Cloud, the next generation of AR is here.
With location-based services, you can do more than read about history. You can experience it.
Go beyond just identifying plants. Expanded storage services gives you the capacity to cultivate a whole garden.
And with multi-user services, you can experience lenses together from anywhere. Dream big and build even bigger.
See, much cooler. I could try and describe those visuals, but seeing it is just a ton better. Now I'm going to go through a series of different opportunities to see what these use cases could look like in real life. So we use lenses to unlock creativity. So here on the far left, you're seeing an opportunity to see shadowing, hand tracking, lots of opportunities there. In the middle, you're seeing how objects can exist in augmented reality, but be used in current reality. And in the far corner, you're seeing someone drawing on a chalkboard that's not really there. Next examples are about teaching, again, near and dear to my heart. So on the far left, someone's learning how to draw characters through a projection through the lens. In the second one, someone is following instructions for origami. Hot tip, I probably still couldn't do it while following this, but I think I stand a much better chance by seeing the instructions visually on the paper. The third image is of one of our designers had developed an American Sign Language learning app. One of our non-hearing developers internally decided to find a connection point with friends and family to help use hand tracing and hand tracking to visually understand how to learn sign language. You can still find this today. If you just search ASL Lens in the carousel, you'll be able to pull this up on your own. And in the far right, it's an example of how the camera can do object detection, and then you can pull from a database to give it instructions. Here, you're seeing English and Spanish displayed as objects are detected with the camera. So ultimately, anything that can be seen and heard by the camera, you can build an experience off of as well. I see there's a ton of comments. I love that. Obviously, I can't do both. Multitasking is pretty strong as a mom, but still can't quite do the comments, but we'll get to them later for sure. Again, near and dear to my heart, this is about education, but in the form of workforce development. So on the far left, you're seeing product and appliance instructions that can appear. The camera can detect what the object is, and in this case, the developer programmed instructions on how to use it or possibly how to fix it. In the middle, it's fixing a sink. I used to work at AWS developing instructions for workforce development, onboarding, thousands of new techs each week. And in that space, we were using VR to try and provide on-the-job training. I can't just tell you how exciting it is to think about this in augmented reality instead, to be able to learn in real time. It's almost like you have a personal apprentice experience with the augmented reality glasses in this case that could help you fix the sink. And the far right is cooking instructions. Really cool opportunity. You'll see another in one of the videos I'll show later that highlights how you can provide a little bit more than just cooking instructions that are written down. You can see visually what your instructions are to do next. In this next one, we see how health can be applied in here. In this case, on the far left, one of our developers built a camera recognition of different skin conditions, and then they could display what those skin conditions were. Not a replacement for diagnosis, of course, but just another interesting tool that can be used in the medical profession to improve how we work together. In the middle, we have something related to meditation or breathing. These experiences can be outside, not just in your home, but in the real world. As you're out in the world, you can create these experiences. The far left, similar to video, but you can have words displayed over actions and triggered by your hand. Shopping and product use cases are endless. You'll see so many more of these coming onto the market for consumers to appreciate very, very soon. On the far left, you've got American Eagle jeans try-on. If you've experienced these before, you'll see that it's really cool. You can kind of use the products in different ways. Essentially, developers have the opportunity to do more than just a try-on experience, but you can do a fully encompassing try-on experience, including a closet or including part of the store where the users can interact with the experience and not just sort of watch a video. There in the middle is Crocs, and the other is a virtual storefront. So virtual storefronts can exist as well in this space. And then, product educations and tutorials are just opportunities are endless for what that could look like there. In this next video, you will see how we are integrating with live music experiences. I'll let the video speak for itself. It's pretty incredible.
Take me to another day.
We're partnering with Live Nation on 18 shows this year. In fact, my colleague just arrived in Ibiza today with Kygo, piloting one of the great experiences. If anyone had friends that attended the New York, or if you yourself attended the New York Drake show yesterday, you may have seen some pretty cool integrations there as well. Stephen can share a little bit more about how that's done, but essentially it's a perfect example of what we're looking for to see real life and computer overlay in an experience together. So very different from virtual reality, right? Very different from escapism, very different from a virtual world, but you're actually in the real world with an enhanced experience. And there's some examples we've thought of here that are pretty perfect. But I'm sure there's a ton more out there that developers like you all will come up with that we haven't even thought of. And we are very excited and energized about what that could look like. Some more words about the interdisciplinarity of what we do and the excitement, I think, of bringing lots of different skill sets together to develop augmented reality from our founders.
I think we've found over time that the best ideas, the best products come out of mixing skill sets, like having creativity and kind of an artistic expression to adding creativity to the science and the engineering, and really those two components kind of working hand in hand. And I think fostering that connection throughout the growth of the company has been very, very exciting to see, and especially resonant now with a lot of the work that we're doing in augmented reality and a lot of the ways that we're pushing media and interactive experience.
I definitely feel like the smart and creative values really express themselves in AR. I mean, you just have to be an absolute brilliant genius to, build SnapML, for example, and also at the same time extremely creative to think about all of these different applications and build all the amazing lenses that resonate with our communities. Look at her! Looks better than me. Oh my God. When you combine that with this atmosphere and culture that's really kind and people are supportive of one another, it helps people take these really big bets with technology that require so much brilliance and so much creativity. It's really cool.
So I'll share with you now some of my favorite and some of the most compelling experiences that have been developed by our community of developers. We have more than 300,000 developers worldwide who are making these types of experiences. So it's not just us in-house that are making these, but this is available at your fingertips as well. So here's some inspiration. Education lens. This is a lens where the camera can detect a bird, pull from the database, and provide information about that bird within this space. I'm not necessarily a bird watcher, though I do live in Seattle. We have the greatest bird diversity in the world. It's still just so cool as a concept, right? Where your camera can become a tool for you in your everyday life. Here we have Heart Woolery, one of our developers that's showing hand tracking, voice ML, and 3D body tracking linked with music. In this next experience, you'll see interactive play. So this is where multiple users can experience a lens at the same time in the same location or in different locations. Hart, who was one of the devs that displayed the last experience, also made a Pac-Man experience, which was just incredible. So you can imagine people on a big lawn in the middle of a park walking around. They, of course, are in the middle of a game eating ghosts and playing Pac-Man, but everyone else around them just probably thought they were so strange. I think it really expands what games can become if we create this interactive play experience, this multiple user experience is really impressive. Shopping, which I've shown you some of now. You've seen, I'm sure, much more of this in your feed as well. So much to come on what this can look like based on how we've improved tracking in this experience. Location-based AR is also just so exciting for what it can do. We have city landmarkers and we've mapped out different parts of the world today. I think there's lots of opportunity to do more mapping as it comes. This is one experience here with a large-scale city templates. Central London is the first city landmarker available and provides a full 3D map to bring city-scale AR life experiences to life. We will have 2 more tutorials on city scale launching this month. This last summer, the Lego group used our Central London template to make the streets of London more playful through AR. Here you can see how they built Legos on the side of one of the buildings there. And then I like this one because, again, it's more about utility, but unlocking the potential for education is incredible. So here in this example, you'll see that Go Spooky built up a landmarker that could be used, for example, in city planning. Instead of planners having to look at drawings and kind of imagine what a building would look like, you can stand next to the space and see. We could also use various databases to program maybe shadows, how the shadows will fall at different times of the day and how that might affect a neighborhood. how it may block other buildings from view. There's just so much potential that can be used by integrating these different levels of technology. There's so much to see. I'm going to end now before we jump into having Stephen share Camera Kit to talk about Spectacles just briefly, and then hear from some of our developers themselves on how they've enjoyed using the product. So before I go, I encourage you to visit ar.snap.com. And then if you do /learn, or on the top, you can click on Learn. You can see all of our learning resources and figure out how you can start to develop on your own. You can join us for live streams, see past recordings, click on community tutorials, as well as some of our tutorials, and see this really exciting future that we have in AR. So now I'll jump into Spectacles, and then I'll hand it over to Stephen.
The possibilities of AR are alive and endless. With every advance in tech, we actually allow humanity to express itself more fully with each other, more connected.
Come here.
So what wearable AR means for the future is that computers are going to start to see from a more human perspective. When you couple that with voice ML, yes, 3D hand tracking, and connected lenses, no longer is the brain just in your pocket. You're now allowing technology to see from your own perspective.
The way that we interact with the physical world is with our hands. So that's why hand tracking is a very important step in merging the digital and physical world together.
Voice ML is going to give us the opportunity to have a frictionless interface.
Let's try this one. Place it here.
We can very easily call up anything that we need at any point. Orange.
Make that gesture with your hand and you'll plant the seed.
You're going to have new experiences that are all just based on words in new ways.
Connected lenses is simply about bringing people together in a shared space. I imagine a world where people are more connected and go out and explore together.
Lens Studio makes developing for AR more accessible for creators by lowering all the barriers to entry. And with these advancements in technology, we're actually allowing us to express what's been inside all along and open opportunities that were not even possible. Create the world you want to see.
Thank you. That's a chunk of the presentation. I'm going to hand it over to Stephen now. He has some really exciting things to share with you about Camera Kit and the opportunities there. Take it away, Stephen.
All right. Thank you, Stacy. Can everyone hear me okay? Just doing a quick mic check. All right. Sweet. Okay. Let me just do a quick switch in the presentation here. And I think this works great. Can everyone see my screen? All right, I see the thumbs up, we're good. Okay, just a quick intro. My name is Stephen. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Stacy, for that wonderful introduction to Lens Studio. I'm located in Los Angeles. Let's see, what should I talk about in my intro? Been in the VR AR space, I think, since 2017. I've worked at HTC Vive, IMX VR. I've seen a lot in this VR AR industry. So it's very exciting to be here today to talk to you about Camera Kit. Going back to my two fun facts, and this is in no way to gloat whatsoever. Just to give you more context. The viral video that's like 5 million plus, this was unexpected. This was, when I looked at the video now, just yesterday, it was about a video I posted 18 years ago, and this is when YouTube had just started. And I was just testing it. It was like a first to hello world kind of moment where it's like, oh, you upload a video. How does that work? Like, it was like a platform. So I just uploaded whatever was on my iTunes. It was a snowboard video. And I just put in the title snowboard. And in the description, I just put snowboard. And then next thing you know, I left it alone. 3-4 years later, if you just go on Google and you type snowboard, it was the #1 result, which accumulated all of this like view. And you look at all the comments and everyone was like, wow, this got me into snowboarding, etc. So that was exciting. It's just funny to kind of look back and just say like, oh yeah, that's like first to YouTube video and just posting a snowboard video. So that's some context there. And then the second context, and I'm not proud of this, is turning down David Hasselhoff at a restaurant. This is a fun story that everyone enjoys. That I was a host at a restaurant that was very popular, and it normally on average has about 2-hour wait. We get a lot of celebrities. I usually recognize all of them. I did not know who David Hasselhoff was. He comes in, he asks, hey, he's very kind, really confident. He asked, like, hey, what's the wait look like for two? And I just said, well, it's about 2 hours, unfortunately. And he was kind of looked at me in the eye. He was like, really? And I was like, yeah, it's 2 hours for two people. It's just like, we got a lot of people. He was like, okay, put my name down. I was like, okay, David. All right, David, what's your last name? Hasselhoff. As I'm writing it, I was like, man, that sounds familiar. But I kind of wrote it off. And so he was a really nice guy. He ended up getting takeout. But all my coworkers in the back were like, dude, you just turned down David Hasselhoff. Like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I didn't know. I was just out of it. Like, I didn't really know him. So that's just another fun fact. But anyways, let me cut into it. Let's go back into the presentation. I am on the platform developer relations team. I support the community success in building and launching with CameraKit. And I'm here to give you an intro to CameraKit. And I think the best way to cover this is just answering 4 key questions for this presentation, which is, what is it? Why is it important? How does it work? And how do you get started? So with the first question of what is it? So CameraKit is an SDK designed to enable augmented reality for your applications. The goal is to unlock and explore new AR experiences by leveraging all of Snap's technologies that Stacy has presented just before this. So in short, it's really the power of Snap AR in your application, right? And Snap is no stranger to AR. If you've seen in the videos, we've had a decade worth of investments in this space. And so prior to CameraKit, this was all on platform within Snapchat. And now with CameraKit, we can extend these AR capabilities, innovation to your platform of choice. And those platforms are your mobile applications such as iOS and Android, and most fairly recently now available on your website. So kind of just to wrap it up, it's really a cross-platform SDK that allows you to distribute the AR experiences that you create on Lens Studio to your mobile application or your web application. So that's a high level. And going to the second question of, okay, so that's great. Why is this valuable, or why should I care? Why is this important? Well, CameraKit enables AR, and AR drives a variety of successful outcomes. One that I'll mention here is it helps increase user engagement. It improves user experience. It helps grow your audience, and it helps drive user retention for your application. And for us, really, the value, going back to our goal, is that we want to unlock and explore new AR use cases, right? We want to power these experiences. We want to be that trusted go-to platform when someone has an AR idea. And we essentially want to drive the AR innovation we've already seen that's been developing on Snapchat to also other platforms as well. So the best way to sort of showcase the power of CameraKit and prove it's delivering on all of these values that I've mentioned, then just really to prove that I'm not all talk or CameraKit's all talk here, is just to go through a couple of case studies. So I have 4 to share. With the first one, let's touch on acquiring new users or growing your new user base. So Zoog is an Israel-based video app for creating shared family experiences through reading, learning, and playing when families can't be together physically. So adding AR to those activities enabled family members to make storytime videos using lenses, effects, and sounds as they read. Once they've integrated CameraKit and Lens Studio, they were able to build a series of lenses. For example, my favorite is when readers are now able to become a whole cast of characters using body tracking, face tracking, and creating magical moments for families through augmented reality. Results, well, Zoog saw users were 42% more likely to share their creation with loved ones, and those who received Zoog with lenses were 3 times more likely to request another one, and were 100% more engaged, which is demonstrated through their likes and hearts in the videos. overall, the impact that Zoog saw was a 280% increase in converting viewers to download the app for the first time after offering the AR lenses, which then meets the value of being able to grow their user base. So that's point one. The next value was, let's look into how Camera Kit is driving increased user engagement. So ShareChat Moj is used by over 160 million people every month in India to make short form videos and compete in daily challenges. After the integration, Moj has seen a 77% increase in camera usage with AR, and nearly 48% of the content created with the camera included the lenses, resulting in more than 64 million posts to date. And also, don't forget, because you're building your lenses on Lens Studio, as Stacy covered, you also have access to distribute on platform to Snapchat, right? So these lenses don't just get distributed to Camera Kit. You have the option and ability to deploy it also to Snapchat. And so for Moj's case is that on Snapchat, Moj's top performing lens has driven more than 409 million organic views. And this drives more engagement from the user to their brand, to their app. You can use the public profile on Snapchat to hit a button to redirect them to your application if they want to experience more of your application and features. So there's also that sort of kind of platform and ecosystem that we're building, and I'll go over that in a little bit. The next value wanted that Camera Kit is providing is improving user experience. Smule is a popular music app for singing your favorite song solo with friends or with top artists around the world. And thanks to Camera Kit, it encouraged users to feel more really, I don't know if confident is the best way to say it, but feel more motivated to bring fun lenses to their original performances. They choose lenses, they aren't camera shy as much. They have fun with the songs that they kind of select with the lenses to sing. And the result had an increase in engagement on the platform where performances with AR lenses drove nearly 50% more views and 30% more loves on average than performances without AR. And I'm very guilty of this. My favorite band is Good Charlotte. And there was this perfect kind of sort of punk rock lens that I put on, and it would have all these tattoos on my face and eyeliner and just singing my heart out to Lifestyles of Rich and the Famous, which is a great song, just to kind of plug in there if anyone wants to check that out. And lastly, we've seen some incredible innovation with Camera Kit, and this is really where it excites us on the possibilities of Camera Kit. In C2 is an AR-powered civic engagement app that takes planning proposals out of City Hall and onto their urban context to make the process of urban development more democratic. So C2 uses Camera Kit to expand their tool to unlimited geographies, letting people seamlessly and creatively impact with the proposed future of the places they love. So these are the innovations that we love to see and that we want to encourage our community to take the power of what you can create in Lens Studio and deploy it both on platform and off platform to your applications, to wherever your community is. So that's what Camera Kit is. And this is the value and impact it's delivering to real developers and businesses today for their community. Let's transition a little bit to looking under its hood, just to kind of better understand how it all comes together. Here you kind of see, taking a step back, you see the Camera Kit platform as a whole. It's much more than just an SDK. It includes the Snap AR ecosystem. And we like to break this down into 4 kind of pillars here. From the left, it's Camera Kit is sort of the cross-platform SDK to bring AR into your mobile and web app. Lens Studio is where you're going to build your AR experiences. Creator Marketplace is where you have access to all of our talented networks of top developers and creators. And in the Snapchat ecosystem, where you can have access to the community to engage with your lenses. I'll go a little bit more into details, mostly on the Camera Kit tech stack, so you kind of have an idea of how it works. And then I'll go lightly in details on the last 3, since it's been kind of covered already by Stacy, but I'll hit a couple reminder points there. So Camera Kit's tech stack. I think that the thing to drive here is that the camera session itself, the output media, the distribution of the recorded content is all handled by the host app, meaning your app. That's fully customizable by you. And then the Camera Kit SDK comes in when your camera is launched, and that powers the AR experience. So that's kind of just a high level of where it plays a role in this sort of tech stack. And a little bit more additional details, as you already know, it supports iOS and Android and web. It has a fully customizable UI and lens entry points. I'll share a little bit more details on the next slide on this. There's no Snapchat login required. I think this may have been a common misconception, but when you integrate Camera Kit into your application, it does not require your users to log into Snapchat to experience the AR. So this is fully in your control. It just launches the camera and you can deploy the AR experiences through Camera Kit there. And then finally, it's designed to be performant across a range of devices and network conditions. As we know, off-platform, there are a variety of users that are on Android, iOS, so it's very important to make sure that the quality meets the expectations of your users. So that's some more details there. On the customizable camera UI and AR entry points, this varies depending on your use case, but just wanted to call this out that if you have a single AR experience, we have a standalone capture that you can use. We also have a carousel. It's a base code that's provided in the SDK where you can sift through a variety of AR experiences. Now we know, again, going back to, it depends on your use case. One or the other is maybe applicable, but just know that you have this full customization in how you want to develop your AR experience. And let's see what else. Really quick here, Lens Studio is where you're going to be developing and publishing your lenses. And the delivery piece of it, I wanted to call out, is that all lens hosting, management, and delivery to your application are powered by Snap's infrastructure. So you don't have to worry about kind of how it works. You just got to focus on building a lens that you really enjoy, that you think is great for your community. Once you're done completing that and you have the Camera Kit SDK integrated into your app, you can just put publish to Snapchat and to your application. We handle the rest from there. That's the good news. And there's also one call out that we also provide analytics and lens performance metrics so that you can measure and track the success of your integration. So you can understand, your users are engaging with this type of lens, or your users prefer this. That is all provided in the admin portal so that you can continuously make improvements and understand what works and what doesn't. Let's see what else we got here. Lens Studio AR development environment. I'll cover this really lightly because Stacy already did a fantastic job in going through this. I wanted to just mention the call out here that Lens Studio empowers anyone to create with AR. So those in the audience, I know I was reading some of the comments that some were confused. Do I need Unity? Lens Studio is its own standalone tool. It's free. You can download it today. I feel confident that you can build a lens by end of day today, just based on all of the resources that you have available, all of the documentation, tutorials, and Learning Hub that's there. So I wanted to call this out. And once you're in, it's amazing. It's the reason why a lot of people, really have good referrals about the AR experiences that are on Snapchat. It unlocks all of these sort of features that you have access to, from hand tracking, body tracking, the list goes on. So this is why we see a lot of the innovation, because we give all of these features and tools, and we're making sure that the performance and quality matches the expectation of what the developer community and creator community is asking for. I will say that this is all possible to build and deploy to Snapchat. However, when deploying to Camera Kit, specifically on your mobile or web application, there are certain exceptions. So in our documentation, we do have a section where we'll list our unsupported lens feature. This is a work in progress, so it's sort of like a product roadmap there. We're trying to see version parity, but just wanted to call this out, that if you do have an idea that you want to build an AR experience for off-platform, make sure to check this list to see if it has current support. But on Snapchat, you're totally fine. Anything you can build on Lens Studio, you can deploy to Snapchat. Creator ecosystem and marketplace, really quick on this one. Should you find that you want to expand your AR content and maybe you don't have the skill set or the resources in-house to build those type of lenses, then you can also have access to our network of our top talented creators and developers that are very familiar with Lens Studio, that have a particular talent in maybe a specific category of lenses, whether that's fun, characters, etc. We have that space for you to be able to engage and connect with them. And then finally, the Snapchat ecosystem. We kind of touched on this for the case study with Moj. Really, with the Snapchat ecosystem, you can increase your lens reach and distribution via Snapchat. So again, just to highlight that you can expand your audience from just deploying to Camera Kit, but also to Snapchat with the millions of users there available. And then you can also kind of drive them back more traffic to your app with your public profile, etc. I won't go too tactical in it, but there is that ecosystem that we're kind of creating to make sure that you can have the most success when building AR on our platform. Okay, let's see. All right, so hopefully, I think I talked a lot, so let me kind of recap here. So hopefully I was able to answer what is Camera Kit, why it's valuable, kind of how it works at a high level. The last question is just, okay, well, if you're very interested and this seems like a fit, how do you get started? Well, to get started, you just request access at camera-kit.snapchat.com/request. This is a little bit different from Lens Studio. Lens Studio is available for free to download. There isn't an application process. However, for Camera Kit, you do have to apply. There's a variety of factors to it, but the main one is that we just want to evaluate and understand what the use case is so that we can see if it's feasible, so that we save you time and investment and costs, and make sure that there's a clear path forward for what you're trying to build. And requirements, pretty much two things. You want to make sure that you have the approved application for access to Camera Kit. So the review process takes generally 7 to 14 days. And then once you have an approved application, you'll be notified via email with the onboarding email to kind of get all set up. And then you would need mobile app or web app development skill. This is one that we've seen kind of common in our community, that, with Lens Studio, there's a ton of resources to ramp you up if you have zero experience in it. For Camera Kit, it does require, when integrating the SDK to your application, some iOS native app development or Android, Kotlin, or for website, HTML, JavaScript at a minimum to kind of get set up. So I just wanted to call that out. I think as we scale, hopefully we can make that process a little bit easier if that's a gap. We did just launch a sort of a Camera Kit web for beginners guide on our forum and documentation. So hopefully that's slowly going to address some of the gaps that we have, but just wanted to call out that those are some skill sets that will be helpful to have in advance to integrating Camera Kit. And once you're in, this is where hopefully I'm doing a really good job to make sure that you guys are supported on the community forum with our engineers, that we're hosting our monthly office hours. We're continuing to put out video tutorials and documentation updates to make sure everything's helpful for you to be successful, and in development resources such as sample apps and testing. And this is my last slide. I just wanted to give this visual that kind of just maps out everything we've talked about, right? From Stacy's presentation about AR to Lens Studio being the engine to power those experiences on the left, then to being able to decide, okay, where do you want to distribute those AR experiences? Where are your audience? You can choose between either your application, your website, and or Snapchat app. And then also Spectacles are AR glasses. And that's it. And I think that's the end of mine. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And I look forward to answering questions next.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephen. And Stacy, you're not up on stage right now. I know you can hear me and see me though anyways, but thank you both so much for the presentations. Like Stephen said, we're going to have him back up in just a minute to go through the Q&A. I know there's lots of questions there. And Stacy, you can stay on stage here if you want for a minute too. I'm just going to share a little bit of course information first, and then we can jump into the Q&A. So just bear with me, folks. I am going to share my screen. I think maybe. There we go. And you can see that okay. Always just like to check before I dive into doing anything. Perfect. I can see the thumbs up there. Awesome. So I did drop a few polls into the polls tab here, so feel free to interact with that while I'm kind of going through the course information. Once I've presented the course information from CircuitStream side, I am going to drop one more poll in while we're doing Q&A, just to make sure that everyone kind of understood the course information that I shared. So feel free to interact with that at the end as well. But without further ado, I'm just going to share some of the info here for the courses. Oh, and one thing I should mention too, I know that Stephen called this out. So in our courses, our XR focused courses, we do predominantly use Unity as the teaching tool, but we use other tools as well. And we're certainly not opposed to using any sort of development or design tools. As a company, we encourage people to, if they've taken our courses, to expand beyond that once they've completed the courses, dive into the XR industry in any way that you can. And that would certainly involve learning Snap. Snap's a huge player in this industry. So yeah, I kind of wanted to preface that although we don't have Snap integrated into our courses per se, that the skill sets are incredibly transferable, and that's why it makes sense here to be sharing this information. So the XR development course, this is our first course. In this course, you'd be learning technical development skills and coding using C#. By the end of the 10 weeks, you will have learned fundamental foundational Unity skills and how to code using C# and how to develop AR and VR applications. A little bit more information. Again, all of this presentation is going to be recorded and shared afterwards, so people would be able to access this info at the end here. The interaction design course. This is our second XR focus course that we offer here. I'm just going to move my screen up here a little bit. There we go. It's the second course that we offer. In this course, you'd be learning how to prototype and how to design user experiences. By the end of this 10-week course, you would have learned how to apply UX best practices and how to prototype using industry recognized tools. So that's a little bit about on the XR design course. The pricing for our courses, I'll just share this really quickly. If anybody is looking at getting started in the XR industry, our courses would be a great way to do that. We have lots of case studies too, if anybody's interested in hearing from another student who started off from completely outside the industry and ended up working after they took some courses with us. We can share that information as well. But we do have two different packages. Our starter package will include the XR course. This is great for people who have a little bit of experience in coding or design. If you are coming in completely brand new, we do usually encourage the Plus package just because it's going to come with a little bit more support for you. In the Plus package, we offer on-demand intro courses as well to prepare you for the 10-week course. So you get a little bit of time to kind of prepare before you actually jump into the course itself. And then we typically run this course every few months, but our upcoming start dates would be shown on screen here. We have October 3rd for the XR development course, and we have September 6th. And I believe we still have some spots available for the design and the development. I'd have to double check that, but if anybody is interested in starting with us and taking some of the XR courses, these are the upcoming dates that you can take a look at. And that is it. I promised it would be short and sweet. I think it's a little bit more important to kind of jump into the Q&A here. I saw lots of questions that came through. So Stephen and Stacy, you are certainly welcome to jump back up on stage here now or turn your cameras back on. And I am going to do my best here to go through the questions.
Stephen and I have been answering them in real time. Highly impressed with myself, by the way. It was a great idea, Stephen, that we can do that, because hopefully it drives things along.
I was trying to answer some as well, and some of them are a little bit above what I would be able to answer on a technical level. So I was doing my best, but
Love it.
So we can start just at the bottom. It said, are you presenting for API or mobile delivery or for web? I think you kind of clarified that, Stephen, that at least on your side, it would be applicable to all, hey?
I realize I'm muted. Yeah, I think this was a question that was early on before we explained Camera Kit. But yeah, I think at a high level, Lens Studio is where you create your AR experience. And once you've created your AR experience, you can choose the platform that you want to deploy it to, whether that's on Snapchat or off platform to your own mobile application, both iOS, Android, and now to your website.
Awesome. And then I'll put this one up here too. And I do apologize if we tackled any of these in the presentation. Sometimes it's still handy to just throw it up really quickly and give a quick answer at the end in case anybody missed or they joined late. But can you explain the use of shaders for Snap AR?
I don't know, Stephen, if you want to grab it. I don't know the technical answer to it, but I'm certain we've tackled it in some ways. I have 2 new Blender tutorials that are up on our site, and some other folks may have explained it in Maya or some other digital ones. I'm not sure if that's the nature of the question, but maybe connect with us separately and we might be able to answer it in another forum. Absolutely. Or the Discord. We didn't plug our Discord, did we, Stephen? Maybe the forum is great too, but the Discord's another great spot to find tons of experts who can answer the questions.
That's definitely, I would encourage people to join that community as well. Just going to throw that out there. And I see, okay, let's see here. Are there plans to make the AR spectacles broadly available?
Yes, soon. I can't give you dates. I can't give you specifics, but I can say it's coming. And we're very excited about what Apple has launched because I think it's great to get folks really accustomed to what an XR experience can be like in a wearable. We'll get there. Our teams are working hard to develop a lot of really amazing features. Right now, some of you may know it's available to developers. So we have it in the hands of the sort of behind the curtain. We're almost ready for in front of the curtain, just not quite yet. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Exciting information to come. And now this one, there's probably a combined answer on this one. I'm sure it's probably yes on both sides, but just in general, are creators paid when they make Snap assets? Are you guys able to speak to from that angle at all?
So we have the asset hackathon that's happening now, and we are working on monetization on all areas of the platform. So we hope to have something public soon for what that can look like. I think, in fact, very soon this fall, we'll have a lot more information about what's possible. We're betaing some options now. I'm assuming the question was more specific to just assets and not just AR experiences. We do also have programs for really advanced developers to develop experiences as well all across the world. And if you're interested in that, it's a matter of joining our SnapLens network and getting connected into there. I think for the folks that are extremely good at this, there's a lot of opportunity to monetize. So if you're curious, stay interested and connect on our ar.snap.com website.
Perfect. And apologies here, you just caught me. I'm just taking a quick look at the polls to make sure that the programs, is this one published? Yes, we're in there. Perfect. So the last poll should be up there as well if anybody's looking at doing those. Let me go back to the questions here. There we go. Location-based AR, can it combine with Google reviews?
I don't know. Stephen thinking. I feel like there's an opportunity there because currently on the Snap Map, there's an opportunity, I think, to see some of that stuff in there. It's a great thing to try, and I think it's a genius idea for a lens, especially if you wanted to create something hyper local to your area and include reviews in from multiple sources, maybe not just Google, but bring in multiple sources. Love it. Love the idea. Please make it happen.
Awesome. And then I think we already touched on this too. Is there a subscription fee? I think, Stephen, you had kind of clarified the difference between Camera Kit and Lens Studio in that sense, but did you want to just maybe quickly touch on that again?
Yeah, no subscription fee. Lens Studio is free to download. Camera Kit currently is in sort of this closed beta, so there isn't a pricing fee to it. You just need to sign up via an application and give us more details about your use case, and then we'll onboard you if everything works out, but no subscription fee.
Awesome. And then this one again, I wouldn't know how to answer this one, but suppose we distribute an app with Snap, is there a fee or a monetization policy?
I guess I have a follow-up. When you say distribute an app with Snap.
Who was this? This was David. So David, if you're in the chat, maybe clarify that again. You can add an additional note to it and we can come back to this one.
I think if I'm understanding this question correctly, if distributing lenses to Snapchat, is there a fee or like some sort of percentage? I don't mean to deflect this back to you, Stacy, but I don't think there is a case, but I could be wrong.
We don't really use the word app. So app is probably what's throwing Stephen and I off a little bit on this one. So I think if it's about leveraging Camera Kit in one's own app, we're not seeing a a fee associated with that yet. I mean, great idea. We should start charging, Stephen. No, I think as the program grows, there may be more to it. So join now while you can help us perfect the software.
Fantastic. And then there's a question here about requesting access to CameraKit. I'll put this one up here as well. But it says I need to provide an App Store URL or Google Play Store URL. I figure this is probably a good one. There's a few upvotes on this one already.
Yeah, this is a great question, one that we get a lot, and we need to kind of clarify our form to make this a little bit easier. If you don't, do we need to get a developer account with? So you only need to put your App Store URL or Google Play Store URL if you already have an existing app. This just helps us evaluate the background of your application that you're trying to propose to integrate CameraKit. If you don't have an app yet, then you can just put NA and just kind of detailed in your use case saying like, hey, this is our idea. Our mobile application isn't ready just yet, but this is how we would like to integrate CameraKit. So that's just to clarify. It's not, it's a required field for us to evaluate if you have an existing app. If you don't, you can just put NA on that.
Perfect. Awesome, awesome. And then I'm just looking through, I think you already clarified before that you don't need a Snapchat account. I mean, just in general, it just says, do you need a Snapchat account or a Snapchat account? I think in life you need one because I have one and I think it's great, but I guess that would be more specific to using CameraKit or Lens Studio. And I think you already kind of touched on that. Hey, Stephen.
Yeah, and just double checking on Lens Studio. Correct me if I'm wrong, Stacy. I don't think you need Lens. I mean, you need a Snapchat account to build with Lens or use Lens Studio. Is that correct? Or I could be wrong.
You don't. But right now, if you're going to publish an experience, you're going to publish it onto Snapchat. So at that point, you would need an ID. And really, it's tough to develop for a platform that you don't interact with. So my suggestion would be to definitely experience the app, find what works, what doesn't. It helps you also in your design schemes. And same for using any of the other, social apps and messaging apps that are out there. I think you'll get a lot of inspiration and ideas about gaps that could be filled with AR using those. So not required, but also limits your experience without being able to publish.
Yeah, and I will clarify, it is required for CameraKit only from the developer sort of creator perspective. So you do need an account so that you can log into the portal. But what I was trying to highlight here was more from the end user perspective, so that once it's on your mobile application, your website, you don't have to have that sort of requirement of, oh, they need a Snapchat to experience it. Because maybe sometimes it's for your web app and you're trying to do it for this experience that's not within the Snapchat demographic. And that's okay, because you won't need the Snapchat account and it'll kind of eliminate that roadblock.
And you as the developer may have Snapchat, but some of the audience you're sharing to may or may not. So that's incredibly helpful too. So perfect.
I think as a follow on to that point, and it kind of goes to one of the questions that was there earlier, I encounter this a lot with educational institutions. So when I'm working with any of the high schools, for example, or other groups, the children aren't allowed to have their phones open or their app logged in on campus. And this is where CameraKit is the biggest opportunity, right? So there's some groups we're piloting with now. They're not yet public to share, but I'm very excited to share the data when it comes out. For example, we're using math education in a different app that's like a tutoring app that teachers can leverage to teach math in the classroom. So they don't have to use Snapchat. They don't have to open it up. In fact, they don't even really know it's Snapchat necessarily. The teachers throw that out there when they want to get some street credit. Like, it works great. They get instantly more popular. But as far as actually using it in schools, there's obvious reasons why you wouldn't have Snapchat available during the day. But works great.
Perfect. And I'm just taking a look here. I'm combing through the chat log to see if we missed any questions, but I think most people did a good job of transferring their questions over into the questions tab as well. And we had some answers on the back end as well. Stephen, you've actually, both of you were answering quite a few there. So perfect. I think that's it. I think that's it for the questions. Before we completely wrap this up, Stephen, Stacy, did you want to share where people are able to find you?
I'll go first. Okay, so ar.snap.com. I've put it into the chat there. You can see it as well. Is the easiest place to reach us. There you can find forums, our learning website, CameraKit information. It's one destination for all of that. And then there's also links to our Discords, our forums, and our other communities where you can interact with other developers. Really a robust, amazingly supportive community. It restores my faith in humanity to see how much all of these developers work together. So definitely throw questions out there. I think everyone's been on the journey and they're happy to learn and share.
Yeah, +1 to Stacy. I think ar.snap is really the easy place to kind of find us for all things that we discussed. Feel free to connect with Stacy and I via LinkedIn, and we can also support you with any questions there as well. I noticed, the audience from the poll, it looked like there was a lot of people that were interested in kind of starting a new career in the space or maybe upskilling. Like we are your go-to. We'd love to help you, invite you to the Snap ecosystem here, and there's a lot you could do with Snap AR. What we covered was only a small fraction of it, but hopefully we kind of excited you, gave you an overview that it's really easy to access. It's really easy to get started. So look into it and feel free to drop us a connection in LinkedIn and let's stay connected.
Awesome. And likewise from Circuit Stream, I mean, anybody who's seen my presentations before knows that you're certainly welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn, reach out to the team. If you have any questions about what we offer at Circuit Stream or about the upcoming courses, let us know. I can take a look for availability. We are also running an information session tomorrow on some of our boot camps that we offer more on the game development side. So feel free to join that if you're in the audience and you want to learn a little bit more about that as well. But overall, just overwhelmingly, thank you to both Stacy and Stephen for joining us here today. You guys were amazing. This presentation was awesome. And I look forward to working with you both again.
Thanks for having us. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.